Today we continue our class, the Kosher Kitchen, and this class should be also for Refuah Shlema, Yoron ben Doris, Yehudis Basara, Binyamin ben Sara. Okay, so let's go. And we start with Sefer Shmiras Haloshon. Today's topic is pure and untainted. The Talmud states, Reish Lakish said, in the name of Rabbi Yehuda Nesiach, the world is sustained only in the merit of the breath of the Torah study of school children. Said Rav Papa to Abaya. And what is with yours and mine? There is our Torah study, so only the children, right? Abaya replied, there is no comparison between breath that is tainted by sin and breath that is free of sin. It's from Shabbos 119b. If the sages were, to their minds, guilty of forbidden speech, it could only have been inadvertent and rare occurrences, right? So if they speak only inadvertent, then that's very rare, right? I mean, if they all day they studied Torah, why would they speak Lashon Hara? And when and where? Yet they declare their words of divine sorrows to be tainted because of this. How much more so it is true of one who habitually speaks for the forbidden, especially Lashon Hara, which causes ill will to strife among the Jews. Okay, no comments. Straightforward. Okay, so let's start. So let's do a little review what we did last time. So it would be like some continuation. So our topic was, one second, transmittal of the taste through aroma. And we said there is Talmudic expression that aroma, it's like what is it? What is the expression? It's like aroma has a substance. I would not find it. Aroma, I mean, literally, aroma is significant, right? and we said it's especially when we're talking about cooking simultaneously, like in the same oven, even on the same stovetop, right? Meat and dairy. Right, of course, same problem applies to the kosher, non-kosher food, but here we're more interested in meat and dairy, and we said it's proper to have two stoves, right? One for meat and one for dairy, right? But if for whatever reason a person cannot afford, so we said maybe today get one smaller one, electric one, so it should resolve the issue. But we were looking at all of the other possibilities. Like for example, person has one stove and that's it, right? And if somebody baked something in the oven simultaneously, like meat and dairy, so most likely it's going to be one of them or both of them would absorb the taste of the other. And if they're not covered, so we're talking about food's not covered, so one can drip like sauce or whatever from one into another. Of course, and if it is a liquid, so the liquid would evaporate and the aroma is going to come through the steam from one to another. So, and then we discuss, of course it's not proper, because we said many times, have separate stoves and that's the proper way. But what if somebody did it anyway, for whatever reason they do not know? So we say, 1 second. So the foods did not touch each other, and there was no gravy and stuff like that. So we said the es post facto that in some cases you would be able to eat the food, right? So they say if the stove have ventilation, so and we said that all of the modern stove have ventilation, so it's a little easier. So all of the steam, all of this like smell would go like outside, like it would go rise up, not go into each other. So I mean we're talking after the fact. Of course, it's not so simple, so we have to look into it. And microwaves usually don't have ventilation, so if you cook in microwave, I'm not sure how big should be the microwave. You can cook two dishes together, but that's for sure an issue. Then we said if one food is sharp or two of them are sharp, so for sure an issue, you cannot eat it. And plus we also discussed the laws of what is it on Pesach of Chometz is more stringent. So during the year we have some modification, 1 to 16, many aspects, and some axes 1 to 100, 1 to 200. Right, ratio would nullify, but on Pesach does not nullify. Okay, and then we discuss the covered foods, so it's a little easier. So if they completely covered, let's say with aluminum foil, or they covered with a lid, tight lid, so it's a different story. So there is no problem. So foods are permitted. Okay, foods are permitted, and like from outside of this pot, of course, it got the residue from the steep of opposite. Of the opposite taste, meaning the dairy of the meat. That's a different story. And just 1 second, but the food itself would be permitted. If we're talking about like the worst case scenario, if they being cooked in a stone in the same stove simultaneous, but they cover. So we say after the fact they're permitted. Okay. But if the dairy food like is done uncovered, that's I'm not sure why somebody would do that. So for sure, if one of them is sharp, it is forbidden. If food were bland, then affected b'diavad. So after the fact, so you can you can use it. So let me just read it to save time. If one baked bread concurrently with meat, he may not eat the bread with dairy. So I mean we're talking about open, not covered. So covered, so this lid would protect, but uncovered, so bread becomes it's not meat, but it's not part of his either, right? Neither. So you cannot eat this bread with dairy. And as I said, many people go stringently, and that's what we are trying also to follow. So if we bake, so since we have only one stove, if we bake the bread, doesn't matter if it's even binyama, like even the stove was not used for 24 hours, we still use this consider this bread or whatever baked goods as not part of a meat, right? So we would not do it with dairy. So if you want to eat it, there is no problem in the morning. Like you want to do it, so first you do dairy, whatever you do. You want coffee with milk, no problem. You have your coffee. You want to have your cereal, yeah. And after that you can you can eat these baked things, no problem. But not the reverse. Even though like after the fact, as we see, some would say there is no problem, but we're trying to not to go into this doubtful situation. And then the reason is why in general, so maybe why you don't want to go into doubtful situation. So you don't want to do like mitzvahs like a barely passing, right? When people ask, as Rabbi Reuven Shlita always say, when people ask for a blessing, they do not say like HaShem, give me just parnasa so I can live barely survive the day. No, right? They they ask a lot, so I can have like a lot of food or whatever, and all of the good physical things, and plus some leftover for my saving account, right? So you don't do barely, you don't ask for barely. But when many people, when it comes to doing the mitzvah, they won't do the barely minimum. Okay, and we're going to discuss it today in a Siddur class also. Okay, so continue. And then we said if either of the foods is completely covered, for example, by a liter of oil, and the other food is unaffected, nevertheless, one should avoid cooking meat and dairy in the oven simultaneously, even both foods are covered. So here is a little different scenario than I said. So I said that both of them are covered, so they're not unaffected, even though don't do it. But here's a different scenario if one of them uncovered. So since there is no transmittal of the taste, so no problem. Again, it's after the fact. And then we say if you got stuck, if you're somewhere in your job, right, and you have only this one microwave in the cafeteria, everybody is using one microwave, or you somewhere in a hotel, and that's all you have. So it's not a problem. As we said, you can do double wrapping, wrap twice with the different materials, and you actually can warm up in this non-kosher microwave, or use a non-kosher stove as well. Okay, so that's like in summary what we said last time. Of course, there were many details, but that's in a nutshell what we said. Okay. So continue. So number 4 is enjoying the fragrance of non-kosher foods. Very interesting. There is an additional aspect of the reicha, which, although not within the scope of this chapter, warrants mention. The issue of reicha is discussed heretofore, relates to aroma of prohibited food absorbed in a permitted food. Actually, that's one of the things that I did not mention when I did my summary. We said that there is one more leniency that we can rely if it was non-kosher food baked, for example, in the same stove with a kosher food. So after the fact, we consider that there is a leniency that we can rely on, and we consider the taste of non-kosher food is insignificant unless you tasting it, like it's a very strong taste. That's a different story. But if not, so we consider it to be insignificant, and therefore we can eat this kosher food. Okay, so this is something similar. Okay, so it says the issue of reicha, as discussed heretofore, relates to aroma of prohibited foods absorbed into permitted foods. Okay. One who subsequently eats the kosher foods is also eating, as it were, the non-kosher taste. Of course, okay, taste, right, it's not material, but it is material. So let's see. However, inhaling fragrance is not in itself is a form of eating and drinking. Rather, it is form of deriving benefit. Hana'ah, right? So when we're talking about baking or roasting in the same oven, we say for sure there is a taste, but we can if it's not strong, so we can nullify it. But here we're talking about inhaling the fragrance of this forbidden food, so it's not considered to be eaten. So eating halachically is something that comes through your mouth and go through your throat. That's eating. Other things are not considered to be eaten. That's why for example, if somebody is taking IV, for example, right, as a food, so the person would not say blessing, right? Even though like the body is getting nourished from this IV, so but since it is not coming in a normal manner, so it's not considered to be eaten, and no blessing is necessary. And of course, there is no enjoyment, right? There are two types of prohibited food. Ise achila. Okay, foods one may not eat, and asurei hana'ah. is foods from which one may not derive any benefit. Okay, so let's try to understand. There are two types of prohibited food. One, that food that one may not eat, and we're going to see why. And another foods that one may not derive any benefit. Enjoying aroma of non-kosher food may fall within the prohibition or deriving benefit from the prohibited food. Not within the prohibition of eating this food. So deriving benefit, so meaning even though a person did not eat this food, but derive the benefit by smelling. The halachas regarding fragrances of prohibited foods are as follows. Okay, the first one. One may enjoy the fragrance of food that may not be eaten. Isrei achila, right? So let's see. Let's see the commentary quickly. Pri Hadash 108:25. Okay. Sibir Halachah. Who contends that this refers only to the prohibited spice that is not eaten by itself. However, one may not smell prohibited food that is primarily eaten by itself, lest one come to eat it as well. Okay, that's a step further. Okay, so continue one more time. One may enjoy the fragrance of food that may not be eaten. So, and he has explained this. Hadash says it's the spice. Okay. Next one. One may not enjoy fragrance of food from which one may not derive benefit. Right? It's Rehana. Some poskim, so meaning what food that one cannot derive benefit? I guess meat and milk together, like cheeseburger or something. Some poskim permit enjoying the aroma of the food. Is a type of the food is primarily eaten, not issue of fragrance. Others disagree. So one more time this last sentence. Some poskim permit enjoying the aroma if the food is a type of the food that is primarily eaten. I guess we see the examples. Primarily eaten, not issued, not used for fragrance. Meaning that the foods that food as we know, food, not fragrance, right? Okay. Others disagree. Okay. The exception to this rule, yain nesach. So yain nesach, as we learn in the Kitzur Shulchan Aruch, wine poured as an offering for avodah zarah. So it's a wine of a non-Jew, basically, right? Due to the severity of avodah zarah, one may not enjoy the aroma of yain nesach, even if the wine is not normally used as a fragrance. So usually, it's very interesting. So if it's used for a fragrance, there is no problem, right? Because nobody eats it. But if it's a food, that would be a problem. Like you usually know is used as a food. And the exception is for aroma only is this yain nesach. I'm not sure. Like I don't think the wine have such a strong smell, unless you take it close to your nose. But otherwise, I don't know. Okay, but anyway, so yain nesach you're not allowed to smell. Practical applications: one who passes a non-kosher bakery or a restaurant may pause and enjoy pleasant aroma. Any non-kosher food in a bakery is probably not among those from which one may not derive benefit, and those used primarily for fragrance. So, okay, non-kosher bakery, there is no problem. I mean, what could be there, right? Milk? I don't know. Continue. One passing house of avodah zarah may not derive pleasure from fragrance of incense that is emitted. Indeed, the fragrance cannot be avoided. If the fragrance cannot be avoided, one must, if possible, refrain from passing the building. Avodah zarah, I'm not sure, like in nowadays, maybe somewhere in India, like in China, I don't know where we would have this avodah zarah when they burn incense. I don't know. Do they, maybe in churches? I'm not sure. Like if it's so strong that it goes outside, I'm not sure. Okay. But that's the practical application. So if it's used only for food, right, and there is no forbidden mixture, so there is no problem. You can use you can smell. Okay. And I remember many years ago I lived by a place, and it's very interesting. And but the bus stop was next to the bakery, so it's non-kosher Italian bakery. So they baked like so. It smells so good. Unbelievable in the morning, like unbelievable. Everybody would, all of the passengers before they get on the bus, they would go to buy something from this bakery. Very interesting. Okay. So, but the smell is good. When I say good, I think it was vanilla or something. That's but very strong. That was the whole taste that I remember. Okay. So section D. Zea. Transmittal of taste through steam. So okay. So now we're going through steam. Another problem encountered when cooking foods in the oven is the issue of zea, steam. All liquids and many foods emit steam when cooked or baked. Halachah considers steam of any liquid as having status of food. Of course, I mean you can taste for sure, like steam, like when it's like has a residue on your lid, on like a pot lid, for sure there is it's a food. Thus, steam of non-kosher liquid is not harmless. Okay, not harmless immaterial vapor, right? And even though like these foods that you would be allowed to eat, right? Because when in example that we said before, when you baked meat and dairy together, right? Because they were covered with a lid. Okay, maybe after the fact, no, not maybe. After the fact, you were allowed to eat, but all like since there is no steam. But if one was open, but one had a lid and one was open, we say in that case also you're allowed to eat both of the foods. Right, the one that was closed, there is no problem, but the what is it? The part of the second one that had that was closed, so has the steam all around it. So you would need to kosher the vessel, the spot. Even though the food inside is good, is still after the fact is good, but from outside the utensil has a problem. So if you start washing, let's say with a sponge, and it's proper to have two different sponges, one for dairy and one for meat or for pot, right, dishes and pots. So now you start washing this pot. Let's say it was a dairy pot in a dairy sink with this dairy sponge, and it's going to get absorb this all of the meat. Guess what? Okay, from the steam. That's the problem. So one more time, all the liquids and many foods emit steam when they cooked or baked. Halachah consider the steam of any food as having status of that food, 100%. Thus, steam or non-kosher liquid is not harmless. So meaning it is harmless in a material vapor. It is actually a treif, right? And will transmit non-kosher taste and the status of anything it penetrates. So if it is a treif, if it's non-kosher food, right? For example, I'm not sure how they jump from one to another, but doesn't matter. So if it's non-kosher food, so it's going to penetrate the food for sure. Similarly, steam of milk that condenses into water is considered milk. And if this steam subsequently absorbed by meat, it is equivalent to the milk mixing with meat. So what they're talking about, for example, when you boil in milk, right, and there is like a steam, like the droplets on a lid, and they're not white, right? They clear. It's like water. Right, but you know that this this steam, this residue came from milk. So even though it's like water, it is water, but it is actually milk. So if this steam, like which is white, not white, which is clear as a water, goes to the meat, so it's considered to be as milk. There's the thing, and that's why, like for some years, I could not, like many years ago, I could not understand the thing. Like I was looking for creamer, right, dry creamer for coffee, but not dairy. Non-dairy creamer. So what's the problem? So and all of these creamers, all of the creamers, like famous brands, right? They say non-dairy creamer. It's like in a big letter. So if you go search in Google, like it would say non-dairy creamer, and then you go to and you see the kosher sign. It would say, for example, OUD. So OUD, how is it D if you said non-dairy? So it should be dairy or non-dairy. So right, so, and then like the different kashrut, but it would say D for dairy. And then later on, I found out that in order for this creamer to be white, they extract this whiteness from milk. So even though it is not dairy for people who have a problem like drinking milk or something, for them there is no problem, right? But for us it is a problem because it's derivative of the milk. It is milk, right? It's very interesting, right? So even though the steam looks like water, and if it came from milk, it is milk. So okay, so go into details. Number one, solid foods. All the solid foods contain water and emit some degree of steam. This amount is negligible and has little halachic consequences. Solid foods. Okay. Okay, no problem. Thus, one need not to be concerned about zeach when cooking solid foods unless steam is visibly rising from the food. Okay, no problem. So if that is not visible, okay, no problem. So solid foods, but solid foods, I would say like being cooked without liquid at all. How is it not burning? I'm not sure. Like what would be example of it? Maybe bacon, I would say, but cooking, I'm not sure. Did they say bacon? All the solid foods contain water. Emit some degree of steam. This amount is negligible and has little halachic consequence. Okay, does not say what. Okay, no problem. So solid foods, no water, and no liquid. Okay, next one, number two, kosher steam on non-kosher surface. Kosher steam on non-kosher surface. Some poskim maintain that even kosher steam may pose the problem if it is condenses into non-kosher surface immediately above it while still hot. The condensed water vapor, having absorbed non-kosher taste, may fall back into the kosher food and render it treif. Okay, which makes sense. And that's why we said when if you have this what is it like exhaust like hood above your stove, you should cover it for Pesach. Don't use it for Pesach. Why? It's very simple. It's impossible to wash it inside, and all of the like hot vapor is going to go up, and it's going to mix with chametz, whatever the residue of chametz, and going to rub back into your pot, which is would create an issue. That's exactly what they're talking about. So, but here they're talking about not chametz, but non-kosher. So this surface above the stove is not kosher. Use steam, which is kosher, is going to go up, mix with this non-kosher taste, and going to drop in back into your pot, which is a big problem. Let's make it treif. Continue. Number 3, cold vapor. Since taste is transmitted only through heat, the problem of zech applies only when hot steam reaches the surface directly above the cooking lid, the cooking liquid. Hot steam can induce even the cold surface to absorb the taste. However, if the surface is far above the cooking liquid, the steam reaches the surface may no longer be hot enough to affect the transmittal of taste. The surface may become damp and covered with condensed non-kosher vapor, but the vapor is not absorbed. Simply washing the surface thoroughly to remove any non-kosher residue will do. This applies to hot steam reaching an otherwise cooled surface. However, if the surface was independently heated, it may heat the condensed vapor and absorb the non-kosher taste. Okay, so let's try to understand this non-kosher vapor again, and we're going to read from the beginning and try to understand. Unfortunately, there is no like practical example. Oh no, practical examples coming on the next page. Okay, no worries. There are practical examples. Okay, but this cold vapor, I'm not sure. Like, I don't have any practical example, but let's see. So one more time. Since taste is transmitted only through the heat, and that's what we said before, through the heat. So we said if it's two cold things were laying on a plate, or like on a dairy plate, you have piece of meat, but it was cold. It was salami or something. So it's not a problem. You just wash it, and there was no transmittal of taste, right? Because it's cold. Okay. So one more time, since the taste transmitted only through heat, the problem there applies only when hot steam reaches the surface directly above the cooking liquid. So if it was liquid and it was evaporation, so this exhausting this hood, that's for sure a problem, because it's usually it's very close to it, right? I mean, otherwise it would be ineffective, right? So, but if it's much higher, something, I'm not sure like how much higher. So, but higher than that. So your hot steam, it's not so hot. I mean, it does not going to reach that place. And even if it's going to reach that place, it's going to be much cooler. That's the thing. Much cooler, meaning it's not going to dissolve this non-kosher taste. That's the issue. That's the situation. The hot steam can induce even the cold surface to absorb the taste. Of course, the hot steam, if it's going to reach there. However, if the surface is far above the cooking liquid, right, the steam reaches the surface may no longer be hot enough to affect the transmittal of the taste. So it cannot. It's not so important to start warming up this non-kosher residue. The surface may become damp and covered with condensed non-kosher vapor. So damp, it does not mean that it was cooked, right? It's it does not mean that it's going to damp, it's going to drop back into your soup or something, right? So, but the vapor is not absorbed, right? So, okay, vapor not absorbed. Simply washing the surface thoroughly to remove any non-kosher residue will do. Okay, that's what we usually do, and in many cases when preparing for Pesach, like you use like all of the cleaners and like whatever cleaners you use for like all of the chemicals. So that's already make all of this possible chametz, not chametz, because it destroys the taste completely, right? It becomes inedible. Right, or as I say, just use it, just wash it up. This applies to a hot steam reaches the otherwise cool surface. Okay, so meaning it's high enough. So it's like a hot steam, but the surface is high, so it's so it's not going to get cooked. It's not going to get absorbed with this non-kosher taste. However, if the surface was independently heated, for somehow there is a heater there. I'm not sure what the situation is. Okay, heated. It may heat the condensed vapor and absorb in a non-kosher taste. I'm not sure how it would get, what would the appliance be or something that this surface would independently be heated. I'm not sure. Okay, but many things are here theoretical, but we're trying to see how they can be applied to real life. But you see, this Rabbi, he gives all of the possible situations. Maybe for us they're theoretical, but if you go to restaurant business, it's very, very practical. Okay. So summary: meat or dairy liquids cooking beneath even a cool surface will transmit their taste to the surface if the steam is hot upon reaching the surface. For sure. If it's boiling, for sure it's hot. If it's evaporating, the surface is rendered treif, or meat or dairy, right? Treif meaning non-kosher, or meat or dairy. So even meat or dairy is kosher, but we don't want it in our pot. And it must be koshered. Okay. See chapter 14. So there we're going to discuss how to kosher utensils. Next one. If the steam is no longer hot when reaching the surface, so this appliance is much higher, its taste is not absorbed. However, the surface must be washed to remove any residue. But since it reaches there, this surface, in any event, of course there is no transmitter of the taste, but try to wash it. Right? Take a paper towel and wash it. Continue. If the surface is independently hot, for example, both utensils are in an oven, okay, and the upper surface must be koshered, regardless of whether the steam itself was hot upon contact. So one more time, and we're going to explain. If the surface is independently hot, so for example, both utensils in the oven. So here's I apologize. So here's the example. So they're in the oven, and the oven. So even though there is a heat from the bottom of the oven, there is a heat. They call it convection oven, I think. So the heat goes like from the top as well, and from the sides. So like a more modern invention. Maybe it's 20-year-old invention, or maybe more. I don't know, right? So the main top. That's the example he was talking about. The top is for sure is independently heated. So heat goes from the bottom for sure, and that's the source of this liquid is being heated. But it's the top of the stove of the oven is also heated. That's okay. That's amazing. That's the situation he's talking about. Right, the upper surface must be kosher, for sure. Even though we have to remember all of these things that we say, at least in our review. So even after the fact, some things are permitted to eat, right? Still, you have to. In many cases, you would have to kosher the whole oven, right? That's the issue. Okay, regardless whether the steam itself hot in a contact. So does not matter because even the steam is not hot, but oven is not so big. Right, so steam is not so hot, but the surface that it's reaching is hot. So that would be an issue. Okay, so let's do number 4, closed area. So we said if you have ventilation, it's one thing, but closed area, of course, it is a problem. And the ventilation was for aroma. That's dry air. But steam is a different story. It's not going to be ventilated to the top. So let's see. A closed area. The ability of steam to transmit taste to or to absorb the taste from the surface above it depends upon whether the steam is an open area or a restricted area. Okay, steam rising from in an open area easily easily dissipates and less likely to reach the upper surface with intensity of the heat necessary to cause transmittal of the taste. So if it's open like on a stove top, you're doing something. Okay, of course there is a steam, but since the temperature in the room is not as hot as in this pot, of course. So all of this, so it's going to cool down the steam. So once it goes above the top, it starts like cooling down. So that's, of course, it's going to affect the steam, whether it can cook in double quotes, whatever the residue on the surface it's rising to. In addition, steam that dissipates sufficiently is unlikely to condense in the upper surface and fall back into the cooking liquid. Therefore, some authorities rule that although usually one need not be concerned with droplets of condensed steam may fall back into the food, if the cooking takes place in a confined area, one must assume that those droplets acquire taste of non-kosher surface and may fall back into the food. Okay, so here's a big leniency for us, right? So the big leniency, I would say, do not rely on it, unless you very, very need it, right? But he said some authority, not everybody, because it does not make sense. We just build the whole case for 20 minutes against it. But some authorities rule that, one more time, although usually one need not be concerned droplets of condensed steam may fall back into the food, right? Okay, no, I apologize. So if it's in a closed area like oven, for sure there is a problem. So if droplets would go up and it's going to drop into back in the food, is not non-kosher taste or opposite taste, but so the leniency was when it's in open area. The same most likely when the steam is not going to reach the area, it's not going to stay there. So okay, so maybe there is no like taste, like a mixture of the taste that's going to drop back to your liquid. Okay, so technically, like after the fact, we can rely on this leniency, no problem. Practical applications. So let me see. Okay. Practical applications. The most common application of the problem of Zeach relates, so it's steam. Zeach is steam, right? Maybe I should call it steam. Relates to foods cooked in the oven. So that's the bottom line, right? In the oven, it's closed the area, and that's what the problem is. An oven is confined area, and there is a possibility of the droplets of condensed steam may fall back into the food. So, and we say if it's covered with the lid, there is no problem. So because it's not going to go out or covered even with with aluminum foil, right? If wrapped properly, so maybe double wrap, the steam is not going to escape. Okay, so continue. Next one, a non-kosher food. If non-kosher food is cooked in the oven, it may make the oven treif, meaning that you would have to kosher the oven. And milk or meat food baked in the oven may render the oven dairy or meat, right? Depends what you're doing there. Subsequently, when kosher foods are cooked in a treif oven, or meat food cooked in a dairy oven, or reverse, they will be affected by droplets on the condensed steam fall into the food. So again, I need to emphasize, it's only when the food was open. If it was closed, there is no problem. After the fact, you can eat the food. Okay, but if it was open, like for sure, if you have meat, for example, we have this meat oven. So we use it, as I said, we use it for a meat and parv, but this parv, but you cannot eat this parv with the milk. Okay, that's it is part of, but not really. Okay, continue. Right, but if you do the milk, for example, if HaShem, somebody did not know, has, and they would cook something like bake something like milk thing right inside, so for sure you're not allowed to eat it because it would become a mixture of milk and meat together. Because we don't kosher our stove every time. We kosher our stove only once a year before the Pesach. That's it. Okay. So continue. The problem of this steam certainly applies in microwave oven, since it is often has visible condensed vapor, like always. Like for example, it's the what we use, like the cover, right? If you want to warm up some in the microwave, there's a plastic cover with so it's not going to splash out like everywhere, right? So it's always has a lot of condensation, right? So microwave ovens, I mean, it's they're so cheap today, so buy a second one, right? Buy a second one, and no problem. You can use one for milk, one for for meat, if necessary. Continue. All these issues will be discussed at length in chapter 7, so we're going to get to it. 1 second, checking time. Time is running out. Okay, let's try to finish maybe. Okay, try to finish. Number 5, closed pot. And we said technically maybe it's no problem. The problem of steam depends upon the ability of the steam to travel. Therefore, if a pot is covered so that the steam cannot escape, this problem of the steam is no longer is of no concern to food outside the pot. Okay, so meaning even though like there is steam inside of the pot for sure, and when you open the lid, it's a lot of condensed water, right? For sure, it was steam at one point, but it's not escaping. That's the good thing. However, the steam in a pot gathers and condenses into droplets of the on the underside of the lid, and eventually drops back into the food. That's normal, right? Drop back into the food. This can present the rare problem regarding the pot, the cover, and the food is the following application. So of course these droplets, it's not water, right? As we said with the milk, it's not water, it's milk, and same with the meat or whatever dish you are making, and there is droplets of liquid on the top of the pot. It's not water, it's meat. So of course it's not meat, but halachically we consider it as meat. Practical, it's pertinent halachas. Number 1, a kosher pot lid is placed over the non-kosher pot that is boiling over the fire. The pot lid may become treif and require Kashrut. I'm not sure why he say may. I would say for sure it's going to come. He said they're boiling. Okay, so you have a non-kosher pot, right? With non-kosher pot, non-kosher food, non-kosher everything, right? And you put on top kosher lid, so for sure that this kosher lid needs to be covered, kosher. Right? I would say the same, like more practical would be you have a dairy lid and you put on a meat pot. Maybe like that would be like very practical. But today try to do everything like different colors, as we said before, like so that you would not be able to make any mistakes. So it's like different. So if you have red pots for meat, so like, and you have red lids, so how can you put it on different? Of course people can, but not from the family. Somebody from outside, like I don't know, the mother-in-law came or somebody. Okay, sister-in-law, whoever came, right? That's the problem. So next one, next situation, a non-kosher pot lid placed over the cooking kosher foods may similarly render that food treif. The steam of non-kosher food rises to the pot lid, absorbs the taste, and upon condensation, drops into the food, imbuing with a non-kosher taste. I'm not sure how is it practical, but let's read one more time, and I'm going to explain what I mean. The non-kosher pot lid. So I would say it was clean, right? If it was clean, it was non-binyama, like more than 24 hours. That's a different story. So okay, so non-kosher pot lid placed over the cooking kosher foods may similarly render the food treif. Okay, may. The steam of non-kosher food rises. The steam of kosher food, that's my issue. I misread what. The steam of kosher food rises to the pot lid, absorb its taste, if there is a taste. So if it's more than 24 hours, we're going to see most likely if we would do it leniently. Taste, and upon condensation drops into the food, imbuing it with a non-kosher taste. You see, today when we wash our pots, and even people, non-Jews, will wash the dishes, they do it with a dishwasher, right? The dishwasher usually has a terrible taste, and it kills all the grease, all of the taste. It is killed. And plus 24 hours period, it actually helps. So in most, the way I understand, in most situations, the rabbi would rule that there is no problem. So if it's if you cover this meat pot with a daily cover, the food is permitted, by the lid must be covered for kosher for sure. If you won't continue to use it for what you call it, for daily. Okay, continue. Next example. Meat pot lid placed over the cooking daily pot. Here we go. Or reverse, may render the food or pot may render the food, the pot, and the lid treif. Okay. Next one, number 4. One must be careful when removing cover from a pot. Okay, what is the problem? The cover often has a condensed steam on its underside, of course, always. If this condensation falls on a food or utensil of the other type, this may become treif. Rav must be consulted in any of the of the above cases. For sure, it's going to get treif. As we said, it's not water; it's actually meat. Number 6, object in a path of steam. Utensils of food placed in a path of steam, issuing from meat or dairy foods, may acquire the character of those foods if hot steam comes into contact with them. Even if the steam is not hot and cannot affect the transmittal of the taste into utensil of food, it nevertheless may coat the utensil with the meat, for example, residue. Right? That's the issue, which must be removed through the washing before the utensil may be used for dairy, for example, right? So the steam, for sure, it's like steam, as we said, it's material, and it will leave residue. Even if it's not hot, it does not make any difference. If it reaches the surface, for sure, it's going to stay there. Okay, so let's do practical application, and we stop. So it says practical application. One should never hang ladles or spatulas above the stove, where they may be affected by the steam of meat and dairy foods. If hot steam, so that's so not even above, but try like if you hang them, like some people hang all of this utensil on the wall, to the side. How much to the side? To the side, so you would not get the different taste. That's how much to the side. If hot steam from the meat or dairy foods reaches them, they may become treif. Okay, treif meaning non-kosher. Even if the steam is not hot, the residue may remain on the utensils and affect the kashrut of the food used with those utensils. So, I mean, it's like if the steam from the dairy can you render this utensil, even though it's only above or even to the side, but very very close to the stove, so we can make them opposite, right? It was dairy, now it's meat. Okay, so you must kosher it now. Continue. Number 2. When one adds salt, pepper, or other spices in a boiling meat or dairy food, the container should not be held in the path of the steam. The residue of the steam may remain on the spout, and mix into the salt, and as it is poured into the food of other type. So that's proper if you use this salt shaker or something. So not to have it on the way of a steam, right? Or if you need to do it anyway for any reason, so it's proper to have two sets of salt and pepper shaker, right? One is for meat and one for dairy. That's what many people have. Okay, just to be on the safe side, because it is like you're trying to add salt to your meat pot, so that the steam comes out and it get absorbed into your salt, right? And then you want to add the salt to the milk dish, right? For sure, some salt actually is with the residue of the meat. Of course, it's less than 1/60, of course. But you, in some sense, you're doing intentionally, because why? Because we just warn you not to do it. Continue. In an office shared with the non-observant co-workers, one who uses water from a hot water dispenser must be concerned with the non-kosher status of dispenser spout. Steam from non-kosher liquid, cocoa, soups, and flavored coffee leaves a residue on the spout, and mixes into the water as it flows in the spout. Rav, one should consult Rav, and it's a big issue. It is a big issue. So in the office where I used to work, so some people would bring these soups like in. Or what is it in instant soup, whatever they call it, instant soup, and they would put this soup very close to the spout, right, from hot water dispenser, and of course this spout was covered with all of the residue from non-kosher foods. So sometimes you say what is the problem? What is the problem? So it could be a problem. So I was trying to avoid it, to use this hot water. So. Or wash it or something, but do not use it as it is, for sure. Okay, we can stop here. Any questions on what we said? Or we did not say? Okay, no questions, no problem. So we can do, don't remember all of the questions from WhatsApp. One question was what we do with the files that we record. So far we don't have updated files. We upload some files. If you're interested, I can send you links. We have older files on Beezrat HaShem channel, but we're planning separate channel, halachic channel from Beezrat HaShem, and we're going to upload newer files as well. So let me know if you want it. Send me text. And another question was about what? About what women should say in the prayers, right? So the minimum requirement. So the minimum requirement for women is to say what? Is to say blessing on the Torah, for sure. So in our Siddur is a full Siddur. Our scroll Ashkenaz Siddur, it's page 17. So blessing is on the Torah. So you say the whole page, and then on the next page you say all of these morning blessings from my God, my soul, Elokai Neshama. So all of these things, all of these blessings you say, of course. Page 21, you say, and then it depends, right? So it depends on what. If lady is, if she has to take care of the children, if she's single, not single, if she's like a girl, right? Not married, or you married. So if you have many responsibilities around the house and stuff like that, so you can you're obligated to say Shema. And how much Shema you're obligated to say? You're obligated to say only one, the first line. So it's on page 29. So you say here, Israel, HaShem, our God, HaShem is the one and only, right? And after that, you say, blessed is the name of His glorious kingdom for all eternity. So it's Baruch Hashem Kivat Malchus Olam Vaed, right? So that's technically enough, right? And then I'm talking about minimum of the minimum. Then you just pray a Shmona Esrei and basically you're done. So, but even though like if you mean to pray Shacharis, it must be done in a time when Shacharis is allowed. And usually the Shacharis is allowed for first 4 hours of the day, halachic hours, seasonal hours, whatever they call them. Different books they call them different, but you can see in application, right, in my Zmanim that I sent before. So you see what is the proper time to pray Shacharis. So the latest time. So whatever the latest time in your region in this specific time, that's the proper time to say Shmona Esrei. But for whatever reason, if she cannot, so there are strong opinions that you can say even later. So what is later? Meaning up to the noon. So, but if you halachic noon, right? So if you do not say Shacharis until halachic noon, I mean the Shmona Esrei, so you no longer can say Shmona Esrei. It's like it no longer Shacharis, like according to everybody's opinion. But you can still, since women are not responsible for all of these halachas that all the mitzvahs that are connected to time. So she can daven mincha, for example. There is no problem. She can daven mincha on page 232, right? And technically there is a ashrei, right? And what is it? And Shmona Esrei, and that's it. So there is no problem. So I would say that's a minimum requirement. Okay. So, but if she has more time. Right, so we're talking about women. She has more time, so she has, of course, blessings on the Torah, blessings on morning blessings. Right, so most of the authorities say that you can skip offerings. Men should not skip ever, but she can go and pray Psuki de Zimra. So Psuki de Zimra, if possible. So at page 59. And until the very, very end. So, okay, depends on the time, if time allows. When does it end? It ends on page 83. So from 59 to 83, Ishtabach, and you can say the blessing before the Psuki de Zimra, page 59, Baruch She'amar, and you can say Ishtabach. That's according to Ashkenazic tradition. According to Sephardic tradition, the way I understand, if I don't know if he's here to correct me if I'm wrong. So Sephardic women do not say this blessing because on a Psuki de Zimra, right? They just start with the next page on 61. They say that the blessing because it's not strictly obligatory, so they do not say the blessing. But Ashkenazi custom, if a woman decide to take upon herself whatever she wants, and for example, if she has time, she can say the blessing. As we said, she wants to sit in the sukkah, she can say the blessing. She wants to shake lulav and esrog, she can say the blessing. There is no problem, right? So same is here. And if she has time, it's proper. Even she has little time, but a little more time, to say the Shema with all of the 3 paragraphs. So it's page 90. Page 90, we have Shema with all of the 3 paragraphs. Of course, if she has time, say blessing before Shema and after Shema, and Shmona Esrei. So that's, I would say that the options for women. And plus, I would say very important, very, very important, to say Aleinu L'Shabeach. Almost forgot. Aleinu L'Shabeach, we have, 1 second, where's my Aleinu L'Shabeach? Aleinu L'Shabeach, we have 159. It's our duty to praise the master rule. That's very important prayer. So we acknowledge Hashem's sovereignty over us, and like very strong prayer. So you see, you thank Hashem that He separated us from all of the other nations, right? From all of the other lands. They have their destiny, we have our destinies. So we don't mix, basically. That's the prayer. It was written by Yehoshua ben Nun, and I think, if I remember correctly, the second part was written by his wife, Rachav. Right, so she was in Rachav. If you know about the story about Rachav, so she was a prostitute, the most famous prostitute of that place, and she did tshuva, and she became the most righteous woman, right? How righteous, right? So she married the king, the holiest of the men, one of the holiest of men in the nation of Israel. So she converted. She was not Jew, so she converted, and she married the king, Yehoshua ben Nun. Believe it or not, right? So that's power of Teshuvah. Okay, so that's about it. That's about prayers. If more time, so it depends. If a woman wants to pray the full Shacharis, she can pray the full Shacharis. But I would say pray whatever we said. Don't add more. And better if you have time, pray Mincha as well. At page 232. 232, so she can pray Mincha. That's it. It's Mincha is very short. The whole Mincha is like maybe 10 minutes. That's it. So, and women usually do not say Tachanun. So Tachanun on page 251, they do not say. So it's basically Ashrei, Shmona Esrei, and this Aleinu, which is what again? It's our duty. Aleinu. So 10 minutes, 12 minutes, 15 minutes tops. If she's very, very dedicated, very, very slow. So this mincha would take 15 minutes tops. I don't know, not in 15 minutes. Okay, there is nothing to pray for. Okay, 15 minutes tops, I would say. Okay, so that's the story. Okay, so he left. Okay, no problem. What else did we miss? Can somebody check, please? Israel, can you check?
Can I ask 3 questions?
Okay, yes, you can, but please check. Well, if I for sure I missed something from chat. Could you please check?
There is about the prayers that women can read.
We did that.
After that, it's one question, my question.
Okay, go ahead. With your question. Somehow I thought that I missed something. Okay, go ahead.
No, it was mine. So, what if Shabbos came and there is no bread nor wine? Is it a mitzvah of the 3 meals?
Okay, so all right. That's a good question. I would say okay. So here's a question. Let me just repeat the question for everybody. So on Shabbos we have a special mitzvah to enjoy Shabbos, and how people enjoy it. We're physical human beings. We enjoy with food, right? Normal people enjoy food, right? It's good food. Why not? Right? So Hashem said, eat on this day 3 meals. But the meal does not have like proper. The meal should consist of bread, minimum of bread, all of the 3 meals, but and plus all other extras, right? But if you don't have bread, so you still have 3 meals without bread. The only thing, so if you don't have a bread and you don't have wine, you would not be able to make Friday night kiddush, right? Because you can do only on a bread or wine or mizoines, but that's it, right? But if you don't have any of those, so you're patur, you just start eating whatever you have without kiddush. What can you do? And during the Shabbos day, you actually can do kiddush on Hamar Medina or coffee, on tea, or like soda or something, milk if you don't have anything. So you can make kiddush, okay. But you can eat other foods, so it's going to be counted as 3 meals.
But I was assuming that a meal will require the after blessing of Birkat Hamazon.
No. Only it's there are some mitzvahs that we have is optional only if you're in that situation. So if you're in situation, if you want to eat bread, yeah, you have to go wash your hands, and you have to do all of the mitzvahs, say the blessing, and say the Birchas Hamazon. But you're not obligated to put yourself in that situation. You understand? I mean, unless it is, as we said, kiddush. Okay, so yeah. It's not Birchas Hamazon is not definition of the meal. It's consequence, like because you ate bread, but it's not strictly necessary. Yeah, go ahead. But it's a good question.
I thought that yes, but I thought it was intended that we must say 3 times.
Birchas Hamazon? No.
Because of the 3 meals.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
like it was mandatory.
Exactly. I mean, it's proper to have bread in all 3 meals. Yes, and if you have bread 3 times a day, so you would say 3 times Birchas Hamazon. You're right, 100%. But if you don't, so you don't. But you still ate. You still enjoy whatever you ate during these 3 meals. That's the proper. HaShem wants to enjoy. And some people, I have some students, so they cannot eat this bread, right? The bread meaning from this, they have problem with gluten, right? So the bread they have, it's not hamotzi. So they have this, what is it, rice bread or something. So it's shechakol, basically. You understand? But still, that does not mean that they are not going to have meals. What can they do? Understand? Okay. Any other questions? Yeah, go ahead.
Another was if it's allowed to, if we made a 3-faced after blessing for fruit and mesonot, and we eat again a fruit without a blessing, it's okay, or it was mandatory to say?
No. Can you describe the situation again? It's not clear. What was the situation?
For example, I eat rice. Before the rice, I ate a couple of apples, and then I made the after blessing. And after making this after blessing, I eat an apple again without a blessing.
No. 1 second. So, okay. So let me try to answer this question properly, because there are a few situations, so we have to look at it. So first, it's not what you asked, but I need to mention it. So first, we have to remember not to put ourselves in situation when you need now to make a blessing, extra blessing. So, and if you're planning to eat more, so don't say the after blessing. But if you did not plan to eat more, and then you decided to eat more, that's a different story. So a person ate 2 apples, then he had this right. So he said blessing on 2 apples, barapri fruit of the tree, and then he said blessing on the rice, right? Let's say he had rice with vegetables, let's say. Right, so he said baremine mizonos on rice. So, but after that he said barene fashos for all of it. It's covered. So after you say blessing after the food, That's it. So this the first blessing stopped working. That's it. It's expired. So even though it was like I don't know 3 minutes after you said it, so you ate like small apple, whatever you ate quickly, right? So yeah, that blessing expired, and if you decided to eat another apple, so you would need to say the separate blessing for sure. But initially, if a person is planning to eat the extra, don't make the after blessing, because it could be bracha v'lav. Like not, it's not v'lav. It's like I don't remember the exact expression. Like you cause the situation to be the way that you now is obligated to say extra blessing. That's the thing.
But if the other apples that I eat after that are in my side, are not covered.
No, if you say after blessing, that's it. The blessing stopped. You understand? So if you say after blessing, so for example, I don't want to. No, I don't want to confuse you. I don't want to confuse you. No, if you say after blessing, the blessing, the initial blessing is stopped. So don't say after blessing. For example, if you're going to sit there and eat like every half an hour, you're going to eat one apple. There is no problem. So don't say the after blessing until you finish, or until you say, you know what, for now I'm good. Maybe I'm going to say to have another apple 1 hour from now. That's it. So you say after blessing, and maybe if you change your mind and you had the next apple 5 minutes later, there is no problem. You can eat you say before blessing, and you can eat the apple.
So even if I had intention of eating an apple later on, it is expired anyway.
If you say after blessing, after the food, that's what makes it expire. But if you did not say blessing after the food, after whatever you ate, it did not expire. So if you were in this same room for a few hours, okay, you went to the restroom, you were here and there, but basically in the same area, so the blessing did not expire. But the story started that you said, I'm going with your story, with your detail. You said you ate 2 apples, rice, and you say after blessing. So that's it. The blessing stopped. So that's okay. But if you ate these apples and rice, and you decided to eat more apples that were in front of you, for sure they're covered. There is no doubt about it. Okay.
And the last question is, it's allowed or not allowed to go outside at halachic midnight? And also, this is related to this question: if it is allowed to say good night in Hebrew, because it has the name of an angel, and I heard that angel names cannot be say names of angel at night.
Mm-hmm. It's better not to bother angels, for sure. And some people have these writings. They go to Israel, and they in Tzvas and every in Yerushalayim, different places, they sell these Kabbalistic things, this like a portrait, like it costs a lot of money. They write with gold, with like beautifully decorated things, but you have to know what it says there. And sometimes the stupid people, like they buy because they do not know, and these shopkeepers, they tell whatever you want to hear, and basically it's names of the angels, so it's not proper to have them in your house if you're not so pure yourself, you understand? So it's not proper not to. But I'm not sure exactly what. Oh, I see. No, it's not that's not what you mean. So if you say Laila Tov, there is no problem. That's not how you pronounce the name of. It's close, but I think it's different spelling a little of that angel. Yeah. So good night is Laila Tov or something. Okay. Any other questions? Yeah, go ahead.
The first part of that, if it was allowed to go outside.
Midnight, there is, you're right, there is no problem. And in olden days, in the Talmudic times, they say do not go out at night. I think it's on Wednesday or Tuesday or something. Monday, Tuesday. I don't remember, because the demons, the Shedim is out there. But today we have light and we have people outside, so it's not as bad. Okay.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Any other questions? Any topic? Go ahead. Okay, but could you get a little closer to microphone? We cannot hear you.
Yeah.
Closer.
I'm sorry. Hang on. Wait.
Okay, we're waiting.
I was wondering if you had birds, are you okay to give them the seeds that you usually give them? What should I do if I had birds and they sell the seeds? What options can we have to feed them?
Seeds. Are you talking about Pesach or are you talking about?
Yes, for Pesach. I'm sorry, Rabbi. Yes,
okay,
you're
but
right.
you see, I almost profit. Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
So yeah. So
You got it.
so the problem I can look it up, but the problem is not with all of the seeds. The problem for sure. The yesterday's question was about sunflower seeds. First, with sunflower seeds, there is still is for sure a problem. There is a problem with mustard seeds and few other seeds that we can check, but the problem is not all of the seeds. It's just some of them. So maybe if I can get a list of all of the seeds, and the seeds is not it's kidneys. Kidneys. So if you remove this, let's work on a list first, right? Let's get the list, and then we'll see what to do. So if you get like your own mix without flower seeds and without these forbidden seeds, there should not be any issue, right? Okay.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Rabbi.
You're welcome. Okay, question. Go ahead.
What was the last page number of the prayer that you said for the women?
I think it's one.
Or what was the name of the prayer called?
Yeah. I want something. It was our duty 159, but I'm not sure. Yeah, it's 159. It is our duty. It's Aleinu l'shabeach. On top it says Aleinu. Okay. I mean they call it Aleinu. Our duty. It is our duty. 159. Yeah. So I mean for men, so this whatever I said is for women, and plus as we mentioned, there are two gradations for women: women that are busy like with children, with taking care of the house, and the women that have more free time. So a woman that has more free time should say, for as we said, for sure she has to say all of the 3 paragraphs of the Shema, not only like the first one and Baruch Shem quote, right? For sure. Okay, and if it's proper, if she has time to pray twice a day, as we said, once you get used to this Shmona Esrei, it takes like 4 minutes. So in place where I go, they finish, unfortunately, in 15 minutes. So they finish everything. 15, 16 minutes finish with repetition of the Shmona Esrei, and repetition of the Shmona Esrei, and with all of the Kadeshim, like all of the extra Kaddish, with everything 15 minutes, unfortunately, but that's what it is. Okay. I mean, Mincha and Mariv together. That's how fast they pray. Okay. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. No problem. So we stay here. So thank you very much. It was a successful week. Baruch HaShem, we learned a lot, and should continue the next week and get ready for Pesach. Pesach is coming, so maybe I'm not sure when we get the more people. So maybe we do a little review, like what should you preparation for Pesach? What should you do? Okay. So good night and good Shabbos until Monday.